This is Lizzie from Let Zoe Spoil You.
And Sagira from Sagira Salutes You. And together, we are Newbie versus Weeaboo. Sagira, Newbie.
Lizzie, a Weeaboo.
It's Newbie versus Weeaboo.
Ahoy, hoy.
Morning, morning.
How are you today?
I'm okay. It's a Sunday morning. It's quite...
Sunday.
Yeah.
It's better come out on the Sunday episode now.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Comes out on the Thursday episode. It's like, darn it.
Whoopsie.
It's insert day here.
I mean, we're still stuck in like lockdown, so every day's kind of like a Sunday, really.
Well, hopefully by the time this comes out, it'll be relaxed. So if it has been relaxed, enjoy outside. Listen to us, then go outside. If it hasn't relaxed, stay and watch some different podcasts that we've done. It's the end.
It is the end.
We have finally reached our destination. That's the word. We've
Yes.
finally reached our destination of episode 26 of Neon Genesis Evangelion. And it's called The Beast That Shouted I at the Heart of the World.
Yeah.
Very melancholy.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I'm so melancholy is because it spent 15 minutes of this episode telling us things we already know. Nothing was new. It
Yes.
was just things being told to us over and over again in different ways, and it made me a little bit miffed.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the final episode, people. I understand what you're trying to do. I understand the goal of this episode. However, we
Yes.
don't need to be told it in about 8 different ways.
I know. And
from
because
the last episode.
in the last episode we recorded together, we kind of ended up discussing like the meaning of life and human existence. This one obviously addresses it again. And I'm like, but we already talked about that. So I don't really need to go over the fact that it's trying to bring home your beautiful hair at the moment.
Oh, I know.
I was going to say, what happened there?
It's sticking to my face. I'm a little bit clammy from the heat of this room, and
Oh.
it's just like, woo!
I know. But yeah, no, it was trying to really drill home the whole you are who you are, and your experiences and your connections make it who you are, and only you can choose whether or not you are able to face the world and be happy and recognize yourself. And it's like, okay, yes.
I mean, I can go through the episode as to what happened, but like I said, it's a lot of repeating. I can do like a condensed version.
Do a
of it.
condensed version.
And this is what you were saying as well. You were saying that a lot of the fans were quite blue-balled in a way from this
Yes.
from this ending, because it was all build up. What's going to happen? A lot of psychological.
Yes, it's
stuff
all
that-
in Shinji's head, the entire episode, and we don't actually see what's happening to mankind outside or the results of the human instrumentality project.
And let's face it, Shinji's mind isn't that exciting, really, because he hasn't got much experience. So
No.
it's quite dull. But anyway, so it starts with a subtitle that says, in the year 2016 AD, which calls back to when I said, one of the characters said 16 years ago. So it had been a year moved on since
Yes.
the thing started. So go me for listening.
Yep.
I pay attention.
So none of these characters have had birthdays, so
No.
so they're not quite
Let's face it,
15 yet.
Let's face it, birthdays don't really matter in this world at the moment. I think
No.
we've got more important things than getting a year older.
Yes.
Also, it could be like the start of 2016,
Yeah.
so no one's had a birth unless they're born in January. Anyway, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah.
Subtitles, in the year 2016 AD, the instrumentality project of what people had lost, that is, of the heart, was underway. However, it would take far too long to... That's another thing. This is just lazy artists. However, it would take far too long to depict all such events. It's
No.
like-
And then that sums it up, and they're like, they're just going to concentrate on Shinji, aren't
Yeah,
they?
exactly. It's like, don't worry about the other characters. Let's just talk about Shinji because he's our main character. So
Yes.
don't worry about the others, which,
Yeah,
again... is
let's
just
not
like,
address what's happening in the real world at all. So we never find out the fate of Misato and Ritsuko, or where Rei is at the moment. And I'm like, no, I want to know what's going on.
However, it would take far too long to depict all such events. We will therefore focus on the instrumentality of the heart belonging to the boy, Shinji Ikari. So yes, this is Shinji's episode. And let's be fair, it started with Shinji, it's ending with Shinji. And he is the person who is basically our protagonist. So
Yeah.
why not? I'd far rather be in like Misato's head or even Ritsuko's head, because we know barely anything about Ritsuko. We hear a lot about her.
Yeah.
We don't actually know, we haven't seen a lot of her.
We don't
but
know what her psyche's doing.
we know nothing about her childhood. We know of her a little bit older when she was
Yeah.
working with her mum, but other than that, we don't know much about her. So she would have been an interesting one, but alas, she's dead. So that ain't gonna happen. She's joined her kitty. So
Yeah.
they're reunited. Reunited. Okay. Starts with case 3, the case of Shinji Ikari. And then we get the subtitle Terror.
Yeah.
Bum bum bum.
But remember all those like part 1s in the last episode, and like, oh yeah, in the next one there's going to be the part 2s.
No
No
part 2.
No, we don't find out how their human instrumentality projects went down.
What's the point? Why tease us with a part 1 when there's no part 2? Why, creators of Neon Genesis, why you do this? So there's a conversation between Shinji, Rei, and Asuka and Misato. They're all talking about terror, and Asuka's scared to disappear, whereas Shinji quite likes the idea to disappear because he doesn't see the point of him being here. Asuka says she's an unwanted child, and Shinji agrees with her that he is as well. Misato says Shinji, he runs away as he has a fear of messing things up and people hating him, that he's scared to see the weakness inside himself. To which he comes back to her and saying, that's you too.
Yeah.
Don't point the finger.
Yeah. They're basically
Again,
all scared children. The thing is, it's the whole thing. It's all that repeated so many different ways of hating yourself, being scared, and actually just creating this drama yourself, really. Because you know what? Other people don't naturally just hate you because you think you should be hated.
And also, again, I'm paraphrasing the hell out of this, just to be honest, this isn't how they say it. They're not like, ha, you hate yourself too, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
So, I'm just trying to do, as I said, a condensed version of everything that's been said, a bit more simplified. Misato agrees, and Ritsuko joins in with all the girls talking to Shinji, and between them they say there is something in their hearts that's missing, and that scares them. And that's why they are trying to meld as one. They are trying to fill the holes, and that's the instrumentality project.
Yeah.
So everything that people are missing, other people might have, and if they put it together, then there'll be no missing things. They'll all be fulfilled and happy.
Yeah, their hearts will all be whole.
In this episode, there's not much of Shinji and the actual characters. It's a lot of voiceover with a lot of flashes of things that people have seen and experienced.
Yes.
And it's a combination of everything, of everyone's experiences, because there are scenes such as there's the shower when Asuka ran away and she was in that tin bathtub. We see a shot of her view of looking through the ceiling. Shinji wasn't there. He wouldn't have experienced that.
Yeah.
So this is obviously her experience joining his. And it's lots of pictures like that. So
And then really random things like, here is a photo of a post box. Here is a photo of a bit of road. And you're like,
it was an actual road and an actual post box. So they're mixing now anime pictures with the real world.
Yep, that's all blurring in to make what is really reality. So even we are now being human instrumentalityized.
We see shots of Ui's grave and the voiceover saying, we cannot live alone, even though in the end we are alone. That's really depressing. And that's why they want to do this, so that everyone is connected, so that we are never alone, which, you know, sometimes you want to be alone.
Yeah.
You don't want people always looking at you.
You don't want them to always know all your thoughts. I mean, goodness.
No.
I mean, I think about Yaoi 24/7. Some people don't need those images in their head.
But also, is that age-old question, what superpower would you have? And I always think, I'd like to be able to read people's minds. But in a way, that's the worst thing that you can think, because you're interrupting people's privacy. As RuPaul says, what other people think of you is not your business. But also, like, people have that idea, hoping that they can, like, see, maybe this person fancies me. Maybe this person really admires me. But a lot of the time it's going to come back negative, whether they really mean those negative thoughts or not. You know, like when someone says something, you're like, he's such a dick.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you don't mean that they're a dick, but at that point in time, you're like,
that moment.
Yeah. So you might hear that and go, oh no, they hate me. And so, knowing what everyone's thinking all the time, you don't need that in your life. The voices talk about humans are fragile, their bodies and their hearts. And then Gendo says, that is why we must complete each other through instrumentality. And then there's a why subtitle, and he says, or we won't survive. However, Gendo's version of the instrumentality project is different to this instrumentality project. So, nah.
I know. This is the line when I went, wait a minute, you're not on board with everyone's souls being connected. You were trying to connect your own little world so that you could basically have Yui again in it, or become a god so that you could have control over this new world. Now I'm confused again.
But then, is that really Gendo saying it, or is it just Shinji's psyche making him say it?
Yes, that's what Shinji's impression of Gendo is saying to him.
Because as far as Shinji knows, this is Gendo's instrumentality project. This is what he's been working on, because other
Yeah.
than Ray and either one, i.e. Uri, no one else knows what Gendo is up to, and Ritsuko, but no one else knows what Gendo is up to. So as far
Yeah.
as Shinji knows, this is what Gendo wanted. So that might be why he's hearing him say that. Then the subtitle says, "Is that true?" And then we get some nice jazzy piano music. I really enjoyed that. I was like, I'm a big one for lounge music. So when this popped in, I was like, oh, hello. Ray asks, "Why are you alive?" And she says it a few times. She's directing it to pretty much everyone. And the subtitle says, "I don't know." Then Asuka says, "I guess I live to find out that answer." Then Ray says, "Who do you live for?" Asuka and Shinji both say, "Myself." And then the subtitle says, "Is that true?" Ray then asks everyone, "Are you happy to be alive?" Shinji says, "I don't know." Asuka says, "Of course, I'm happy." And Misato says, "I only want to do things that are fun." And now we see the pixelated picture. And
Yeah.
if you hadn't have told me what that picture was supposed to be, I would never have guessed. Like, you can't see what it is.
It's two
I'm sorry.
hands grasping like
You
this.
can't. If you don't know, you can't see it.
You could totally see two hands like this, like when they were
I
having
could
sex that first time, and it was focused on the hands. It's the same shot with pixels.
It's like one of those, those pictures where you had to look, like, stare, and then a picture materializes. It's like
Yeah.
that for me. Maybe because it's dots. Maybe because it's dots, and I'm like, no, I don't look at it because of my tryptophobia.
Maybe.
There's then a shot of a phone, and it sounds like Kaji is on the phone, and he says to Misato, "You don't like being alone." Misato says, "I don't like it." Kaji says, "You don't like being hurt." She says, "I don't like it."
There's a lot of that. Here's the thing,
Yes.
I don't like it. Here's the thing, I don't like it.
I like it. Not like it.
Not like it. I do
And
like the
then
little
Kaji said-
touch that you can see that the phone wires have been snipped, so you know the phone isn't plugged in, so there can't be a voice coming from the phone.
And then Kaji says, "That's why you ran away." But he asks it as a question rather than a statement. And Misato says, "Yes, but what's wrong with running from hurt and pain?" And then we get a shot of that chalk outline of the person who you said had been shot. And I still think it looked like someone jumped.
I think it looks like someone's head had gone smush, smush. So maybe they got
That's what I
shot,
thought.
fell over the edge and went smush, smush.
Yeah.
Because it definitely
we're both
sounded
right.
like a gunshot. But when I looked at it further, I was like, no, it does look like they've fallen and douched their head and then landed. But I definitely heard a gunshot, because it's the same gunshot sound effect for Kaji.
Yeah, and also the way that the body's leg was bent backwards.
Yeah.
That kind of alluded that it had fallen. And also,
Yeah.
if you look at where the blood splatter is, it's all up the wall, which would imply a gunshot. However, it's at the side of the person as well. So unless they struggled, or the person who shot them decided to go on a little blood painting spree,
Yeah.
I don't
But it's
understand how that
definitely, it's
blood
on a
would have got over
ledge
there.
above and down. So
Yeah,
shot, fell, douched, fell on the floor, some more bled out.
douched. But we'll never know. So
No.
never mind. We just know they dead.
Yeah. Up to interpretation.
The women then all talk to Shinji about how it's okay to run away if it's from something painful. He disagrees and he's sick of running. The women say he doesn't want to run because that causes more pain. Because it does, because when you run away, you then start cursing yourself for running away and saying, I didn't
You
want to
add
run
some
away.
extra guilt to it.
Shinji thinks if he runs, he'll be alone, and he begs to not be abandoned again. Ritsuko thinks this is why Shinji is so agreeable, and he agrees.
Yeah, because that's Shinji for you.
Misato says he's just assuming all this. Then all the kids from school ask if he thinks he's the only one that feels this way, and if it's easier to assume that. So if you feel like you're in pain and that you're alone and all that, it's easier to be consumed by yourself than to think that others are feeling that pain, because then you feel guilty for their pain as well, especially if you're the cause of it. Shots of the real world pictures, as we said, so those start popping up. Shinji's angry, saying that what he is and feels doesn't mean anything. But Misato says he's playing down his importance, and it's that whole thing that Karu was talking about, like he doesn't realize how important he actually is.
Yeah.
Ray says because I don't have any, so she is similar to Shinji, that she doesn't feel important either. She was put on this earth to do a job, and that's it. So between the ladies, they say if you play down your importance, you won't be hurt, and you keep going with the praise of others. So as long as people are congratulating, mostly Asuka and Shinji, if they keep going, yeah, you did great, that makes them want to do more and do better. So without that praise, they don't see the point. You know, humanity and everything, but whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, we all like praise and being told we've done a good job. It's kind of part of being human.
Shinji says, no one accepts me. Voice says, you assumed that. Shinji's fighting that how he feels is the truth, But the voices are trying to convince him that that isn't true. So this whole thing is just Shinji accepting who he is.
Basically, yes.
Asuka and Shinji agree that inside their Avas, they can be themselves. It's the one place that no one is really watching them. No one is there. It's just them with their Ava.
Yeah.
But that's kind of bull, because the whole point of Asuka's struggle was that she couldn't open her heart, so she couldn't be herself in there.
Exactly.
It wasn't until that angel opened her up that she was completely herself.
Yes. And then Shinji's got Yui in there, so his mum's watching out for him, helping him come to terms with himself.
I'm pretty sure this is Shinji talking. It says, "It is the Avas that made Shinji special, and it's the only reason he can stay." So it's the only reason that he can stay with the people around him, because without the Ava, they don't need him, they don't want him,
Exactly.
so they'll just get rid of him and abandon him again. All the pilots agree they have nothing else. The subtitle says, "My life's value." Shinji says 0. The subtitle said, "That's why." Shinji picks up the phone to hear everyone telling him they hate him.
Yeah,
that's quite traumatizing. Hearing every single person you've ever met say, "I hate you, Shinji. You idiot, Shinji. I hate you."
I know. But we've all had that moment where we're convinced that everybody hates us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That, like, when you have a day where nothing goes right, and you just feel like you're letting yourself down, you're letting everyone else down, you feel like people are talking about you, and it's a horrible feeling. He's sure that's how others feel, but the voice says that he's convinced himself that that's how people feel. He says they hate him because he hates himself. So this is him projecting his feelings onto other people rather than what they actually feel about him. He talks about how people praise him when he's a pilot. And then the subtitle says, "That makes me happy, but I'm not happy." The voices say, "How do you really feel?" And Shinji says he feels both. So he's sad and happy.
Yeah. Which is, we're human. Things can make us sad and they can make us happy, and the same thing can bring both of us out of it, and it's how we deal with these emotions and how we quantify them.
His identity is Ava 1 and his heart is tied to it, and who he really is will disappear. So without the Ava, he is nothing.
Yeah.
So once the Ava goes, he is gone too. He's happy about this, even because it's made me laugh. So he's happy that the Ava gives him a personality, because he's like, even the cello couldn't save my personality. It's like, I tried cello and that didn't work, so I gave up.
Yeah. He tried to define himself but with a talent and going, so people go, "Oh, that's Shinji, the cellist." So he's always tried to define himself by something else rather than actually just being like, "I am me that happens to play a cello." He's like, "No, I'm Shinji, the cello player." So he is now Shinji, the Ava pilot, rather than just Shinji who pilots an Ava.
He then has flashes of Asuka, and Asuka says, "When you lose the Ava, you will feel powerless like me." And then the subtitle says, "Why do you pilot the Ava?" Like, this question hasn't been asked a million times. I think Shinji says, I don't know if it's Shinji or Asuka, I can't remember, but "That's all there is to me." And then I've written down in my notes, "We learn nothing new. This is all stuff we already know."
I know.
How many pages writing this?
It goes round in circles. I was always disappointed by the very last episode, because I wanted to see more of what instrumentality was doing to the world. I wanted to see what was happening to the other characters. I wanted to see what the apocalypse looked like. I wanted to know the bigger picture. But we get a character study of every one of Shinji's insecurities on repeat for 15 minutes. And you're like, no.
It's just, I'm sorry, it's been a really good series, but it was just boring because it is just repetitive stuff. It's like, again, I understand the message they're trying to get across.
Yeah.
It's quite an important message to people. However, the way they're doing it, it's like, you could do this so much quicker. You could have done this in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But the other thing I can see what they're doing is they're trying to show us how much of a struggle it is for Shinji to get there. It's taken him this long. It doesn't matter how many times people tell him things. It doesn't matter how many different variations of what is said is being said. He still hates himself. He still feels like everyone hates himself and hates him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't think there's any point of being on this earth if he hasn't got an Ava. We get that. I've summed that up. I could have summed that up in the last episode.
Yes. I mean, yeah, they do focus it very much on the internal struggle of Shinji instead of going for the bigger picture. Obviously, the movie shows the bigger picture, so, and you don't have to wait a year for that. But this was trying to conclude his personal journey, which is not really what I wanted for my final episode. I wanted to know what was going on.
But imagine if there was no film. Imagine if this was it. How sad
Yeah,
would
well,
you
the thing
be?
is, at the time, that was it. It took a couple of years for the film to get to the UK. And even then, it was over a year before it was even announced. So we didn't know that there was going to be a film. So this was the ending, and this is how I thought it all ended.
And that's really annoying.
And I was a bit like, oh,
You-
you're like one of the greatest series ever. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I've still got questions. I've
Questions
realised
are
that some of the stuff that I know the answer to must be in the movie because we haven't seen it yet.
So then we go into part 2, which is take care of yourself. And it starts with rain. We get some rain. Yay. Water effect rain. Love rain. And Shinji says that he doesn't like rain as it makes him feel melancholy, as he feels now. And then Ray says, sunset, life fading away. She wants that. She wants to fade away, but she doesn't like the feeling of wanting to fade away. Asuka, morning. A day begins. A day she doesn't like. She doesn't like that feeling.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, these all remind me of sad things. And we're all very sad. And I'm like, I know you're all very sad and I can't help you. But staring at the like weather isn't going to help you.
And Shinji comes back with blue skies, something warm and unfamiliar, something scary and I don't need. I don't like it.
No.
I'm going to say it's a blue sky, Shinji.
She's really depressed.
Asuka hates everyone. Misato asks, what do you wish for? And the subtitle says, you're afraid of anxiety. Asuka says, what do you want in life? The subtitle says, you want solace. Ray says, what are you looking for? And then there's no translation for this one, so I have no clue what the answer is.
No.
If anyone does know what that subtitle should be, please tell us, because
they don't subtitle it in the new version, and I was just like, wait a minute, I can't read kanji. So, and even if I could, it would take longer to translate it than the brief flash.
Who knows? That could have been the answer to everything, but we'll never know.
Or it literally could say nothing, so they just didn't subtitle. So it was just like,
fair enough.
Well, I don't know.
We cut to the broken doll, the one with its head pulled off, and Asuka is screaming, "Don't hate me!" Shinji says, what I'm terrified of is, and then the subtitle says rejection. Ray says, what I want is, and the subtitle says contact and acceptance. The pirates start asking questions like, can I go near you? Do you love me? And then the subtitle says, do you love your mother? Because let's face it, they've all got really absent mothers. And the saddest thing is that Shinji had the most loving mother of all, and he lost her through no fault of his own.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't not love him. She loved him very dearly. She was a really good mother, and he lost her out of...
Yeah.
He could have had a really lovely relationship with his mum, and he lost her, and it's not fair. Whereas Asuka had a mother who went loopy and ended badly.
Stepmother that's cold, really.
And then Ray, who hasn't got a mother.
Yeah, so has no idea what a mother's love is like.
Little Asuka asks Big Asuka if she wants to be with her mum. She said no. Little Shinji asks Big Shinji, aren't you going to be with your father? He says no. He doesn't want to.
No, I'm not surprised.
Then Little Ray asks both of them, why not? And then the subtitle says, I'm afraid. Shinji says that he might not be liked, and Asuka says she will stop existing. And then the subtitle says, that's why. Thanks, subtitle.
Yeah.
Misato asks, what do you wish for? And then the subtitle says, relief from anxiety. Ray asks, what do you seek? And the subtitle says, relief from loneliness. And then Yui appears, and she says, you don't want to feel happiness? Shinji says that he can't have that till he has this. And then his hand starts twitching.
Yeah.
Like he's in the Ava. So he can't feel happiness unless he has his Ava. And then the subtitle says, I want value. The mother then says, that's something only you can give yourself. And then the subtitle says, so I pilot the Ava. So the subtitle is kind of a jump between this internal voice and then Shinji's voice.
Yeah.
In a way.
Eternal voice, Shinji voice, and then the voice.
The voice.
Maybe the voice of God. Who knows?
It could be. Could be Gendo's voice. We don't know at this point. Gendo is just everything. Shinji and Asuka feel worthless. Shinji asks, what am I? And then he starts to see himself. And this bit was actually quite nice because it was a total change of pace. He starts to like turn into different styles of drawing. And then he says, what am I? And then the subtitle says, where am I? Flashes of Shinji. And he asks, is this the real me? Fake me? And then he turns into a pencil drawing. Yeah. And I really like this bit. I like the pencil drawings. They're really cool. It's just something new to look at, isn't it? And finally we actually have people on the screen.
Yes.
Ray says to him, you are you. There is a difference between you and what it means to be you. Thanks, Cryptic Ray.
Yeah, everything's going a bit like, what?
And then this bit is kind of sad. Shinji says, my clothes, my shoes, my room are all part of who I am. And it's like, that's all you have?
Yeah.
Like, you can't say like, oh, my cello, my family, my friend. Like, no, his shoes.
Yeah,
His shoes are making who he
That's
is.
what's making him who he is. It's a part of him.
Got really
Shoes.
sad.
I know. It's just like, oh Shinji. But it's slightly more than what Ray would probably explain. She'd be like, my bandages, my meds.
Well, she'd probably say Gendo, wouldn't she? Because he's
Yeah.
everything to her. Ray says, things connected to your consciousness. And Shinji says, I feel me being me. I am nothing but myself. Who am I? Where am I? What am I? These are all questions that...
I can't answer. I don't know the meaning of life. 42. Shinji, it's 42.
And then the subtitle says, and so you wish to close off your heart. Shinji says, no one understands me. Asuka says, of course they don't. Misato says, the only person that can understand you is you. Ray says, so take care of yourself. Shinji says, how can I take care of myself if I don't understand myself? So he doesn't understand what he wants. So he doesn't understand what he wants. Coffee.
Sorry. I was trying to, and I was like, wait for it. She's going to take a breath. Phew.
Basically, he can't take care of himself because he doesn't know what he wants. And to know what you want, you have to understand who you are. So
he's just basically going around in circles, like this episode does.
Yep. Subtitle says you're anxious. And then the women between them say you're anxious and afraid of people, the environment, and these things will change with time. It will change based on what your heart is feeling. Shinji floats in a white void. So again, it's the pencil outline of him. And the young voice tells him that this is freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom to float and do whatever you want. Ray says, however, it's empty.
Yeah, you are totally free. You can do whatever you want, but there's nothing there. Nothing for you to interactive or experience or, talk to. So
Shinji realizes he needs to think of something. Misato says, yes. Shinji can't think of anything. Misato says, a world of ambiguity. And then the subtitle says, that's freedom.
Yep. It's just, you're so free, but you don't really know what's going on because, yeah.
And then the group of voices tell him a world where he can do what he wants, but he's filled with anxiety and doesn't know what to do with it. So Shinji needs direction and a line is drawn for him. So now he's got an up and down.
Yes.
So gravity comes into play.
Yeah. The thing is sometimes if you have ultimate freedom, you actually don't do as much because you don't know what to do with it. It's literally what we're living in at the moment. All the free time in the world. And I actually sometimes sit there in a day going, I don't know what to do with all the spare time I now have. I need someone to give me a direction. I need someone to be like, we should do a podcast at this time. We should watch this. Here, I would like you to draw this for a project. And I'm like, otherwise I'm just like, what do I do?
Or you have in my case where I have so much that I can do. Like I've got lots of things I know I can be getting on with, but I don't know where to start. So I just end up doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's the easiest choice. Just sit down and do nothing.
Exactly.
Rather than figure out what I should do in what order. I mean, I have been getting on with stuff. I've got no done, but
so
at the same time, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, sometimes ultimate freedom is not good. You need a little bit of structure in your life to get things done.
And that's why work is actually good. As nice as it is having some time off, at the same time, it would be nice to get back to a routine. So when he's got his gravity, it says that it's taken away part of that freedom because now he can't go wherever he wants. He can only do what gravity dictates.
Yeah.
However, he feels safer. And it's kind of like that metaphor of feeling grounded because he's now got his feet on the ground and he knows that's it for him. He can't fly away. He can't zoom off. He's on the ground and that's safe. Shinji starts walking around like, hey, that's free will. You went where you wanted to go and you can change direction. That's free will.
Woo! We like free will.
We do. He's told he can change the position of the world, which is not a constant and will change with the passage of time. So yeah, nothing's ever static. Things are always changing.
Yeah.
You can change too, as what gives you your shape is your heart and the world around you. With new experiences, with meeting new people, etc., your heart will constantly be changing how it feels about different things. So at this point, there's a voiceover, but while this voiceover is going on, Shinji's like changing the way he looks. So he's an egg, he's an amoeba, he's an angel, he's water. And then
I like it. He's two cats. He's two fish. He's whooshy sphere thing. He's a spiral. It's quite pretty to watch, but very random.
And yeah, this is when it's saying like things will change around you as you will change and your heart will change, blah. And then the subtitle says, "This is reality." He comes to terms with this, and he's in an empty void except for him again. And he feels himself disappearing. And then the subtitle says, "Why?" He says it's because he's the only thing there, and without outside influences, there's nothing to shape him. So he's starting to get the gist of what people are telling him.
At last, Shinji.
Come on, Shinji. And then the subtitle says, "My self-image." Shinji's starting to realise he needs people. And then the voices say, "You define yourself by the differences in others." They then use his mother as an example. And he realises other people make up parts of his heart. Asuka is annoyed that he's only now figuring this out. She's like, "It took you this long, you're an idiot." And then she calls him an idiot. Now, finally, some comedy, some relief from all this heavy,
like existential crisis.
Psychological. Oh, thank God. It goes too quickly, this bit. I was so happy. I was like, my brain has just lifted with this bit. So Shinji wakes up in his room, and it's the, in commas, real world. That's what it seems like.
Yeah. Basically, this segment is what would happen in a traditional, stereotypical slice of life anime. The slice of life rom-com school anime. This is so, like, every single trope is in there. It's hilarious.
It is. It's so good. And it's nice that Asuka is back to normal in this. So Asuka is at Shinji's bedside, shouting at him to get ready for school. And so she seems like she's back to her normal self. And then Shinji tries to go back to sleep, but she pulls the covers off and slaps him, calling him a pervert, because he's got his morning sunshine.
Yeah, he's got a bit of morning wood. And she's like, "Can't help it, it's mornings! Stop boy-shaming me."
It then goes to Ui, who is in the kitchen washing up, and Gendo, who's reading the paper at the table. And it's like, oh, it's a family.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, let's keep it like this. Let's not watch anymore. Let's stop the program and leave it at this point.
Let's pretend the world got remade for Shinji, where everybody was happy and settled. And, you know, like, Asuka's his childhood best friend. His parents are together. They clearly love each other. They're off to work together. They're going to go meet Fuyusuke. And yeah.
So let's stop the episode and say the end, and that is where it ended. Shinji was happy, the end.
Well, it's got we've got to have Ray as well, so we've got to get to the school.
We don't.
I like the school.
So Ui and Gendo are talking about going to work. So yeah, this is how it could have been without all the god and godliness. Mess never happened. Asuka and Shinji leave for school. As they run, Shinji talks of a new student who's been transferred. Asuka tells us, as in the audience, that the city is going to become the new capital, so they will probably see more people coming into the city. Shinji is now interested if it's a girl, and he's like, oh, maybe she's a cute girl. And we see Asuka visually jealous because she likes Shinji.
Such tropes. It's all the tropes of this genre, including the toast in the mouth, everything. It's just like, it's all the tropes and all the cliches. You got the childhood best friend that secretly fancies you, but you're oblivious. You've got the transfer student. You've got the running with the toast in your mouth. You've got the hot for teacher trope. You've got the.
You're not there yet, calm.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it because it's just such a seeing them in such a trope-filled anime setting.
So what looks like Ray, because we haven't been told it's Ray yet, but it looks like Ray. A girl is running down the street. She's late for school. She doesn't want to be late because it's her first day. So this is a new student. She bumps into Shinji, and he kind of looks at her, and she's like, oh no. And she pulls her skirt down because her skirt's ridden up, and she runs away. She's like, yeah, nice to bump into you. Bye.
Yeah. Trope. I'm late for school, toast in mouth. Oh no, I've crashed into my love interest for this TV show. Oh no, he's accidentally seen my knickers.
At school, it looks more like a school now. It's got graffiti on the tables and it's not so perfect. And Shinji's telling Ida and Toji are back. Yay. He's telling them about the bump. And they ask, did he see her underwear? And he's like, maybe just a little bit. And Toji is super jealous. And then the class rep seems to dislike Toji again because it's all back to normal and Toji is his normal, annoying self. Shinji thinks that Toji is whipped. Then Asuka says to Shinji that he is too. Shinji's like, well, who's whipping me?
Yeah.
But as all the arguing is going on, Ida just looks exhausted from everyone arguing. It's just like, hey, another peaceful day. Ha ha.
Of his two best friends being berated by the girls that fancy them. Oh, poor Ida.
So then a car screeches into the car park. And the boys, including Shinji, all run to the window to go and lust after Misato. And it is really nice to see Shinji like this, like to actually have a boy's personality, a 14-year-old boy's personality. It totally changes him completely.
Yeah.
Changes him.
This is him without all the angst and the pain.
We find out that she's their teacher. And the girls are all annoyed at this, like, hot teacher, meh. Misato introduces Rei. And then we go back to the pencil drawing. Shinji is shocked that it's Rei. Rei sees Shinji, is like, you saw my knickers.
Yeah.
But Asuka stands up for Shinji going, hey, you can't accuse him of that. Meh.
Yeah, what did she say? She says, oh, no, it was your fault for putting on the peep show.
See, that wasn't said in the dub version. It just says, no, you shouldn't accuse him of that.
Oh, no. She tells...
This is what I mean by sub and dub being different.
Oh, yeah. She goes, it was your fault for the peep show. I bet you wanted him to look at it.
But then Rei questions if they are a couple. Asuka's embarrassed and says no. And Misato sat back loving everything, going, hey, let the drama play out.
Yep.
This is great. And everyone laughs. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Ah, ha, 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 ha. And then we go back to Shinji's voiceover that said, this could be a possible world to live in. So it's fake. This isn't real. And I was going to say, if this was how it was ending, there's a load of plot holes in it. So many plot holes.
I know. But, he's currently remaking the world at the moment.
So, yeah, he realises that he could have been different had his upbringing been different. And if he looked at the world differently as well. He realises there are many versions of himself, one being that he's not an Ava pilot. So if there's a world where he's not an Ava pilot and he has a personality, that therefore means that the Ava does not define who he is. Come on, Shinji, nearly there. Back to Shinji looking at the stage with Misato. Misato says, if you realise this, then the real world isn't so bad. He agrees, but he still hates himself. So this is the last hurdle for Shinji, is to stop hating yourself, Shinji. The voices say it's his heart that perceives the world as an ugly and painful place. And his heart is how he interprets the truth. This will change his heart. This is a really long bit. There are as many truths as there are people, but there's only one truth for Shinji, which uses altered information to protect himself. We feel the way we are told to feel. So, i.e., on a sunny day, we should feel happy. On a rainy day, we should feel sad. However, we feel stuck feeling like this because it's like, but I don't want to feel sad on a rainy day because when it rains, it means I can stay in and play computer games, sort of thing. So good things can happen on a rainy day, but no one tells you that.
Yeah. Some things you just have to decide for yourself.
We can change things with how we interpret them. That's all there is to truth, and that's what drives us to find deeper truths. Then Gendo says, you're simply not used to being like others, and that he should stop worrying about what others think of him. But Shinji asks, doesn't everyone hate me? And Asuka says, you just assume that. Shinji says, but I do hate myself. And Rei says, by hating yourself, you project that onto others and become incapable to trust. So we're repeating this again.
Yep.
Shinji, come on, Shinji. Just
you
write
can
it
do
down,
this.
give
You
it to
can
him.
get there.
We just need to write it down on a piece of paper, give it to him, say, read that over and over again until you understand what it says. Shinji starts calling himself names like Cowardly and Weasley and etc. But Misato says, if you understand yourself, then you will be kinder to yourself. For example, he was abandoned, so obviously he will have issues, so he should forgive himself for feeling a certain way about his dad, things like that. As he realizes that he can change and like himself, which suddenly just clicks into place, he's like, but I can like myself. It's like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, well done, Shinji. It took you long enough.
But it's just the sudden switch of I hate myself, but I can like myself.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time, so
Yes, running out of episode. But yeah, he realizes that he can like himself, and the world around him starts to crack because he's starting to break through this stagnant, empty room. He decides he is worthy of life, and this completely shatters the stage and presents a world where all his friends and loved ones are around him, and they're clapping.
Yeah,
They're
well
like,
done.
"Yeah,
You finally worked it out.
We can finish this now because we've worked it out. Yay. Everyone's clapping and congratulating him, including Pen Pen. Pen Pen's there. Yay. And also his parents are there. So hopefully he realizes that he can forgive them. Maybe. Who knows? And then he says, thank you. And then the subtitles say, to father, thank you. To mother, goodbye. And to all the children, congratulations. And that's the end. What the F?
I know. I remember when I was watching it, I was like, but
Well, here are some of the questions that I have. Was that the Seeley project? Not Gendo's project. It was, wasn't it?
I think so.
I think so. We don't know.
No, it's like because in my head there's something else going on, but
well, my other questions: what happened with Gendo in the real world? What happened to other characters? What was Rei doing? Is Ritsuko Misato really dead? And if so, who else is dead? What happened to Shinji now? Did the body disappear and he's truly a consciousness? What is the point of the Avas and to Gendo? What's the deal with Lilith? To distract so that Gendo could get Adam? What happened to Lilith? Yeah, and then so many plot holes in the other thing where like Rei wouldn't exist, Asuka would still be in Germany, Gendo and Yui may never have met because the whole point of him being interested in the first place was because of the Seeley project. So it's like Neon Genesis.
And this is why we were like, for the love of sweet Jesus. So the creator goes, do you want me to make a movie to round it off? And we were all like, hells yes, because we need more concrete answers.
So there's so many questions still to be answered.
Yeah.
And it was a really sucky final. If that was the episode before the final, then nice. Yes, Shinji accepts himself. Fantastic.
No,
it's not.
No. It works now because we know there's a movie, but at the time, can you imagine this was just how it ended? You'd gone through all of that and this was it. Like, imagine like you didn't know there was a movie coming.
No,
like, imagine I was like, this is the greatest show ever. Here's at the end. You would hate me.
I would. Be like, you wasted my time with a crappy ending.
I know, the ending really disappoints me. I get, like, the emotion and the story and stuff, but I got that from the penultimate episode. I got those issues and that coming to terms of who you are and stuff. The ending is like, but there's an actual physical world out there, and I still don't know what Gendo's final plan is, and, like, why the hell does he have Adam in his hand? How does any of this have to do with Rei? What was she born to do?
Because it says, Rei, it's time, and then time for what? Tea? What?
Yeah.
Time for croquet? What are you doing,
Is
Rei?
Misato dead? And if so, who killed her? Like, I'm sure, because I know who killed Kaji, which must be in the movie then. Because I'm like, it doesn't ever answer who he was waiting for.
That was something I was going to say to you. You keep telling me it's really sad who killed Kaji, and yet you're not showing me.
So it's just like, did I just imagine that? And now I'm done. And so until I see the film, the person who killed Kaji is just going to have to be like, maybe I just made that up. We don't know who killed Ritsuko's mother. We don't really know. We don't know what Lilith's up to. We don't know who Lilith is. We don't know.
That's what one of my questions was. What happened to Lilith?
And I was like, damn yeah, I don't know. It's like, why is Unit 1 so important? Apart from the fact that we knew that Yui's soul's in there. But
that's the only thing I can think of. That's the only thing that I could think of why she was important.
I always assumed that Gendo was trying to find a way to bring her back or to reunite them, at the very least, by creating a reality where he could recreate her. But the thing is, problem with that theory is he was already working on Avish because he escaped before it happened. So the second impact happened and he was already creating research into this thing and trying to play God. So I always assumed that he started off on the same page as Seele and Geflin, whatever the other things. And they were like, ooh, experimentation, this is great. And then when he lost Yui, his plan changed. And that's when he put the report in going, yeah, human instrumentality project, this is what we could do. But I'm secretly working on my own thing about,
Yeah, so he was using it as a cover-up for what he really wanted to do.
Yes. So initially he was all like, yay, experimentation, let's create these things. And then he was like, no, I've got to change the game plan. But we might not know. Well, we will find out more.
Eventually. But yes, that was really anticlimactic, and I mean, I'm not going to let it ruin the rest of the series because it was amazing. It was so many good points. It's comical, it was tragic, it was exciting, and the artistry was amazing, and the music is great, and so the whole thing was brilliant. It's just, as you said, without a film, it's not a great ending. However, there is a film, so for now I'm not considering this the ending. I'm just considering it to be continued.
Yes.
So,
because
it's not crappy.
I was so let down the first time I saw it. And I get the feelings and emotions in it, but I wanted some more concrete answers.
Absolutely. No, I can get that. But yeah, I'm excited for the film now. Now that there are so many questions still to be answered. And as you said, there are things revealed in the film. I'm
Yeah.
excited to watch that.
Yeah.
Well done, everyone.
Woohoo! Well done you for managing to take all those notes and like actually talk through them. The only thing I had was I worked out the names of what some of the other angels meant. Like the one with the spear was Bardiel, and no, the one with the sphere is Liliel, which means it was the angel of night, which means the jaws of God. The one
And
I find
that's good because it was the shadow one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That sucked in thing to the void. So yep, that makes sense.
Yep. The one that I like, the 13th, Bardiel, is the Angel of Haze, and that translation is the humiliated son of God, which makes sense because it's an Ava that gets taken over by an angel.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, I like that.
That's a good version. Yes.
Zerial is the Angel of Strength. That's the one that breaks into the compound and Shinji punches it in the face, and that's the arm of God.
And the one that he eats.
Yes. So Strength and the arm of God. So it was obviously like the fist of God. Then there's Ariel, which is the one that's got all the like wings in space. And that's the Angel of Birds. And it's the light of God.
Because it was a big hunk of light. So yeah, that makes sense.
Then there's Armsiel, which is the circle that turns into a thing. And this makes sense.
Halo thing.
Yeah, the halo thing. Because it was the angel of the womb. I remember how I was saying how it looks like it's going in and impregnating AV Unit 0 and she gets a big pregnant belly. But it's also known as the mountain of judgment of God. So it's all the judgment of God, a mountain of judgment, which is probably why it's one of the biggest forms. And then the 17th one, which is obviously Kaoru, is Tabaris, and it's the angel of free will, which is why he had free will, Kaoru.
Which one was the angel that infected Asuka?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah,
that one.
That's the angel of birds, light of God.
Okay.
Because it was a big
Cool.
light that shone down.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah, I
What
love little
just
things
reminded-
like that.
This
It's like,
has reminded me of another question. So because we never see the true second impact, so we don't really know what happened
no.
at the second impact at this point. There was the picture that the deputy commander was given of the big thing coming out of the ground that looked like light.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that an Ava? Was that Adam? Was that God? What was that?
The thing with the wings and you see its hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Adam.
Adam that is now inside Gendo's hand.
Yes.
Not Lilith.
Well, I think the movie explains it in the way that Ava ever explains anything, but
Gosh, yeah, what a ride.
I know.
I do advise people to watch it if they haven't. If you've just been listening to us talk about it, go back and watch it. It's fab. I love it.
It's really good. Yeah, the last episode's a bit like, what? Anticlimactic. Too many questions. What's going on? I need answers.
But there's a film.
Yes.
So it's okay. We don't have to be too outraged.
Yeah.
It's not like How I Met Your Mother, where everyone's outraged going, we want a better ending.
Yeah, I just pretend that ending didn't happen.
Is there anything you want to suggest? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to do for the last bit?
Played some video games as a bit of difference. Played Inside. That's creepy and weird and challenging and wasn't expecting it to go that way. Currently playing Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, which is creepy and weird and interesting. I like creepy and weird and interesting.
Do you? I would never have guessed
Yeah.
from all your podcasts and your art. And
Yeah. I'm rewatching the MCU movies in chronological order. That's fun. Robert Downey Jr. is hot.
Something I'm going to suggest. And it's something that if you're going to do it, you need to kind of do it now. So I'm a big Markiplier fan. And he's currently got his own channel with Ethan. I can't remember his last name. But it's called Unus Arnus. And it's basically a channel that they have created that is only going to be available for the year. And then they're deleting it. So if you don't catch their videos now, they'll be gone. I think by October, was when they started last October. So by October, the whole channel will be deleted and you'll never get to see those videos ever again. And they are quite funny. There are some that aren't great, like it's obviously filler. But
Yeah.
there are some that are hilariously funny and they get to learn a lot of skills like fire eating and work with attack dogs and they walk on glass and like it's lots of things like things to do before you die sort of thing and pushing your body to the limit of what it can take. I mean, it's not all like that. Some of it's silly. Like the last episode, they made up their own contact handshake. It's like it varies from what they talk about. But some of the videos are hilarious and funny and great. Yeah, I advise going back and watching some of those because, like I say, once it's gone, that's it. You have lost your chance. It's gone. Social media.
Well, I think for social media, we're having a round of applause. Woo!
Oh my gosh, that's what I was going to do.
Yay! Well, we'll just applaud our ending. Woo!
So first of all, we'll do Lizzie, and it's Lizzie. Yay!
Yay! Woo! Yay! And then presenting Sagira.
Just the one clap. It should just be. Oh, we're useless.
We tried.
Offbeat clap. Oh, dear.
One hand clapping.
Right.
One hand clap.
Well, that just sums us up, really, doesn't it?
Oh dear. Well, for now, it's Weeaboo saying Johnny.
And it's a newbie saying, go watch some Neon Genesis. Yay! Yay!